Hello and welcome to Spring Training. In this video we are going to do the basic setup that is required for Spring development. We'll see the IDE, the Eclipse installation. We will also see the basic Tomcat installation, and we'll download the Spring related dependencies, the jars, the framework jars itself, and we'll do a basic setup to look at the source code. The first thing that we need to do is we need to get an IDE, and the IDE that we are going to use is Eclipse Juno. This is a very famous IDE, no doubt about it, so you all must be aware of this already. It started with Callisto, which is very old. Currently we are at Kepler, the stable version, and Luna is planned in 2014. Kepler has recently been released, so I've been using Juno, so I'll stick to it. I won't move on to Kepler, and that's what I'm gonna show it to you. As far as Tomcat is concerned, there are various versions, right from version 3 to version 8, but I'll be sticking to the version 6. So let's go back to the slides. This is the URL that you need to click. If you click on this URL, you're going to see this screen in which there will be different, whatever is the type of your machine, you will select it. So I'll just select Windows 64-bit, and then you can download the Eclipse Juno from there. This is the direct link if you just want to go there and download. What I have already done is I have downloaded it here, and it is already the jar archive is already exploded. So we'll quickly run this Eclipse exe and see how it looks like. The moment you run it, it will ask for the sample workspace. So I'll quickly provide it the sample workspace. So this is the location that I want to use for sample workspace. So I'll just paste it here and I'll continue from there. So it will simply open it. This is how the Spring looks like in the very beginning. So you need to click on this. This will give you, we can close the welcome window, and I normally prefer to remove the task list pane from here and move the outline here. That's the view I like to have. So this is the basic Eclipse project. How to test everything is working fine? You simply go and simply say a project, Java project, click on new, Eclipse test, next, finish. I don't want to move to Java perspective. I'll say no. I'll right click here, click on new, click on class, test class com.spring training, and I'll have a main method. So there you go. I'll simply use a sysout to check whether everything is fine. I'll say hello Eclipse and right click on it and run as Java application. Your IDE is up and running, but your IDE itself is not sufficient, because to run the servlets and the JSPs and the Spring framework web related stuff, you need to have the web server as well. So to run the servlet or JSPs or any kind of web application, you need the server as well. So I'll download that as well. In this slide, this is the URL for Tomcat. So I've already mentioned before that I'll be using 6.0. This is what the 6.10 download looks like, and you can select whatever machine environment do you have. So I have 64-bit machine. I'll download this zip. In this slide, you can also click on this to directly download the zip itself. What I've done is I've already downloaded it, so I don't need to go there and wait for download. So I have already explored it here as well. So this is the Apache Tomcat workspace that it looks like. How to integrate it in Eclipse? This is very easy. You have server tab. You just click on new server wizard, and there you will already get a Tomcat 6 version here. You click on next. In the browse, you simply pass on this URL wherever you have the installation. You click here and you click on next, and that's it. Your Tomcat is now ready to run. You run it, and in the console it will say service startup in 60 seconds. So server is ready to serve any application. I'll quickly demonstrate it to you. I'll create a dynamic web project, test Tomcat, I'll say 2.5 itself. Next, test Tomcat is the var that I'm creating, and there it will automatically create the project structure for me. So within this, I'll simply write a simple JSP. I'll say new JSP file, test tomcat.jsp. I'll simply take some basic markup, and then in the HTML body I'll say h1 welcome to Eclipse plus Tomcat. That's what the UI will look like. So I'll simply run it. I'll right click on this project. I'll say run as, run on server. I'll select this server and click on next. If the server is not running, it will start it and it will simply launch me the application. You can see the reason why it is not working is in the web entry we have not added the file in the web XML. So I'll simply add it as welcome file and remove rest of the welcome files from here. And in this case you will probably need to restart. Right click on a project, run as, run on server, next, finish, and there you go. So your JSP is rendered, your servlet container and the JSP container is up and running. But again, you just have got the IDE where you will run your Java applications, your web server which is the servlet container where you will run your servlets and JSP. Now you need Spring itself. So for Spring itself, the Spring jars and all, you have next slide. This is the URL where you can go and download the Spring. So I'll be using 3.0.1 for our demonstrations, for our samples. This is the home page. If I click on it, 3.0.1 release, so it will directly start downloading it. So what I'll do is I'll cancel it because I have already got it downloaded. And it is important to note that this itself is not sufficient. You have lots of Spring dependencies as well, so you need to download this as well. Once you click on it or you paste it on the URL, it will start downloading. So once you click on this URL, it will start downloading. So I've already done that. If you go here in the software, you will say the 3.0 and 3.1 dependencies are already downloaded and exploded as well. Within 3.0.1 in the distribution, you will say all these jars that are related to Spring Framework are downloaded here. Whenever we go on to the individual applications, we'll see the details of it. For now, don't worry about the details, that what are the different jars and what do they do. And within dependency there are a lot of other things as well. I need to demonstrate you a basic sample, example of Spring. Spring can be web-based and can be standalone as well. So I'll just show you the standalone application, Spring test, and I'll do next, and I'll do a finish. So it's a basic Java application. Within this Java application, Spring test, this Java application, I need to have some basic Spring code. So I already have a basic Spring code here, a sample code. I'll simply take this, I'll copy it here. These are basic POJOs, so it won't cause any problems as long as this is compilable. But this will need the Spring jars. This will need the Spring library. So what are the different ways of doing it? The simplest is that you go to softwares, you go to Spring 3.0 and you go to distribution, you copy it from here and you paste it here and you provide it into right click, properties, build path, libraries, add jars. Within this project you select all these jars and click on OK, and that's it. All the libraries are working fine, so all the libraries are resolved. That's one way of doing it, but I won't recommend it, otherwise you'll need to create a copy of these projects in everywhere. So I'll just remove it from the dependencies. Now I'll remove it from here as well. The another way is to avoid multiple copies. You simply say external jars and you select this path and add it in your external jars. Okay, you select all the jars, click on open, and voila, it is added. No problems here, it is compilable as well. So what is the benefit from the previous one? You don't have to maintain a copy and you have it at a single location, but you are still copying all the jars, you are still selecting all the jars one by one. So I would also not recommend this. So instead of that, proper way of the way I do it is I create a user library. So I create user library, I create a new Spring 3.0.1 and I click on OK, and then say I say add external jars, and I go to that path where I have downloaded the library and click on OK, and I add everything here. So all the jars that is needed is added here. I would recommend that you all add all the jars in the beginning, though you might not need all of them. In the beginning you will be needing this context and core, and perhaps this expression as well. But if you're developing web application, you might be needing this, but I would still recommend that you just while you are doing the learning part, you add all the jars that is there in the distribution. So you add it. This is the user library, and this user library is now what the benefit of this is. Any project that you add, you can simply go to add library, and this in user library, this you just click on it and it will be available to your new project. Let's click on OK, and it will solve all your problem. But the point is, this itself is not alone. We have to add the Spring dependencies as well. So I will create another libraries called Spring dependencies, and I'll simply add external jar. Within this external jar, I need to add one important jar, which is org Apache common. So I'll just go to org Apache commons, and within this I need to see the loggings, and within this I'll just click on logging. So that's added. That's the bare minimum that you need for Spring. So we have 2 dependencies added. Spring 3.0.01 is already added. So I've added Spring dependency. This has logging, and this is all the rest of the jars, core jars. So my application is now ready to be run. Don't worry about the details of this code base. We will definitely be seeing it in details. So I'll simply run it to make sure everything is fine. This is the core Java application. This does not require any server, so you can see the output is there. This simply means that Spring is all set to be run. Some people also prefer Spring Toolsuite, so you can go there. Spring Toolsuite is built on Eclipse, and the VMware server that comes along with Spring Toolsuite is built on top of Tomcat. So you can download from here and the version that you like. This concludes this video related to setup. So you have this application ready, you have the workspace ready where you can run the basic Java applications, you can run the web application, and you can run the Eclipse application. So all 3 flavors are available to you.